Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the start of something else. This is Metroid Fusion. This is an interesting Metroid title for the Game Boy Advance. Created in 2002, it was released to help promote Metroid Prime for the GameCube. And this is the official fourth entry in the Metroid series. The official canon sequel to Super Metroid, and, a little well-known fact, a sequel to another infamous Metroid game released for the Wii, Metroid Other M, as I call it. It was released as 3.5. This is the sequel set right after that, so if you want. So you're probably wondering what the game's about. Well, there's quite a few things we have to tell. Already we have gameplay mechanics up the wazoo. We have some new entries to the series. The more important thing here is that Samus does not look like Samus. In fact, Samus has a blue suit this time. We wonder what that's about. And we have blobs of gelatinous gel just coming around, consist of various weird things. Also, that's back from previous Metroid series, which is that. And that's the more important thing we're going to put out. So what is going on? Well, we're going to find out in about a few minutes. The wall jumping is back as usual, as you can see here, like so, which reveals hidden items, as it were, and other things as well. The return of we get to see the return of the speed boost, and of course the return of shine sparking, a very popular term in the Metroid franchise. Since we've already pretty much went through the intro as we began this one, how about we just start the game? Now, there are some things that are there are things that are good in the Metroid series, and there are things good in the Metroid there are good things in the Metroid series. There are bad things in the Metroid series. This is where the halfway point kicks in. So it begins with Samus being assigned to watch over biologics research team that once again wants herself back on SR388. If you remember, this was where the worst Metroid game in the series took place, Metroid 2 Return of Samus. Because that game was just literally a Metroid hunt, and it was crap as fuck. Yet it introduced the primary fucking Metroid function, some of the Metroid elements that we already know and liked. So, Samus is the first encounter with this thing. It was there to take on the attack by a life form I had never encountered before. True, she never encountered it. And what happened is that what we saw in the intro, the parasitic organism we call X. Unaware of the condition, she was returning to the station when basically the X attacked her. Attacked her nervous system, lost consciousness, and basically the ship, as we all know and like, is officially destroyed forever by the X as well, which is a bit sad because that ship's been around for years. So, but thinking that Samus was dead, in fact, it pretty much it turned out the ship got rid of the escape pod, so the old ship of Samus is gone for good. And basically went directly straight to Galactic Federation headquarters, where it turned out the X multiplied in droves, creating large quantities that infested her power suit. And as it turns out, Samus' power suit was so integrated with the systems, they had to surgically remove large portions of it in order to change it. So yeah. The Samus of old is gone, which includes the Samus that we all know and like for many, many years, blah 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 and all that stuff. As it turns out, there's a cure for the X-Parasite. This is an interesting thing, is that they decide to use a Metroid cell inside Samus, which unfortunately gives Samus now the ability to, she's now part of Metroid, which means she is now susceptible to what Metroids hate the most. An important plot point later on, as you can basically see there, the Exicon. As it turns out, Metroids were the primary predators of the X. And since in Metroid 2, you killed off all the Metroids, barring the baby Metroid, that was another aspect. And as it pretty much turns out, that cell of the Metroid belonged to the Metroid hatchling. It's the second time she saved her life. So Arriving at the BSL's research station, this is where our game takes place. So yeah, now, as it turns out, the ship that Samus now has basically a computer. And a computer with a voice of a commanding officer, a very blunt one as well. So yeah, Samus has now got a suit. This is where she has the blue suit. So people complained about the blue suit. So now basically, we'll be overseen by our new computers. Yeah, the fact that it pretty much the reason why we have a computerized CEO is because it is a condition of her to take the ship. So, as it turns out, it is the second time in her life that she takes orders. The first one was Adam. It was in Other M, and the stuff before that, which they explained, which a lot of people did not like. It's not the worst Metroid game in the series. The worst Metroid game is still Metroid 2. The reason I did this is because I have no opinion on the Other M, and I worked on the build-up for the fucking game for World of Long Plays. So, here we are. BSL Station, this is the primary function of the game, and it's a cool ship. I like it. It's a nice purple ship. It's a very weird one, anyway. So, pretty much, the one thing you're going to have to get used to the fact is that this game is not the same as it was for Super Metroid. It is not it is not a speedrunner's paradise. You cannot sequence break. Unfortunately, most of this game is complete and utter linear. So, essentially what happens is that the X-Parasites infested some of the samples coming from the planet below, SR388, which they went completely nuts because, again, pointing it out, you killed off their predators. You've killed off all their predators, the Metroids. Again, it's a consequence of Metroid 2, and I don't want whilst it's the worst game in the series, I kind of referred that as a plot point for a future title. After all, Samus went back to her original planet Zebes, which is now destroyed. Now we gotta go straight to the target, as it were. That is some people complained about the Yes, our objective is clear. Head to that mark there. So let's go. So, standard Metroid fare. It's pretty much we just run around using the Metroid style. Now, this is also a game. Whilst it may not be in the same franchise, this game also is supporting Igavania, for instance, with Bloodstained. This is technically what the genre became, because after all, the Metroid series, in particular Super Metroid, was the reason why Symphony of the Night was created, as a pretty much an action RPG with Metroid style bloody map play. So take a look at we got the quarantine bay right here. This is where it gets, fun. Right. Yeah, it's completely dark. I mean, look at this. They suddenly took this all the way from Metroidvania. And there are some new gameplay mechanics we'll be showing off later on. There's what this entry brings to the table. Right, it's a monster, and there's an X-Parasite. Now you're probably wondering what the heck happened. Well, we don't know yet. We don't know anyway. The new things that are new is that Samus can now hang onto ledges and roll up. That is cool, and it is a huge improvement. So much of a huge improvement it gave is that they gave another title. Right, back to the navigation room, and now we get to find out what we get to hear. This is unfortunate news. Yes, it is. It basically means the specimens brought back by the field team were infected with the X-Parasites, and now they're on the ship. See, pretty much, see what the X could do. They can mimic prey. Basically, they attack the victim, kill them, eat them, replicate their DNA, and gain their intelligence. Since pretty much these things are like complete blank slates, they can assume any intelligence what they want. Killing the host creature, they also absorb the DNA and use it to mimic the host. You were almost killed by an X infection, of course, using the Metroid vaccine. The means. So as I mentioned, Metroids are the predators of the X, and we killed them all in Metroid 2, as I mentioned before. See, there are consequences to the worst Metroid game in the series. I don't like playing that again. Go look up World of Longplay's long play of it, and you'll understand why some of the scenes. But yeah, so now So basically, we can now absorb X-parasites, and this is how it is, because now that we have the Metroid we have part Metroid, we can basically do what we like with it. Quite indeed. Without a host, by merely touching it. This is how we reclaim. This is how we're gonna get our health back, and as we're also gonna explain, restore weapon power. And I was a bit confused about it. How does absorbing an X-parasite regain your missiles? Yeah, this is a Metroid series. Our weapon power is basically missiles. Lots and lots and lots of missiles. That's just how it works. So basically, we must also, there's an objective. The X has to stay out of the breeding environments. We have to basically say it. So, there's already a massive biosign in the region. That is quite a few things. The X are gathering. This may be our chance to exterminate them, but we are only at 10% battle capacity. Our chances of survival are very, very, very low, especially with the thing that is out there. So, I'll explain later on, but the X is not the only thing you have to watch out for. As I mentioned before, it can mimic prey. It can mimic its prey and take its hosts. You was attacked by the fucking X, although you survived quite a bit. See, this is how the X works, quite simply. Let's just take a bit of getting used to, because it's like quite a bit of environment. We have level 2 mechanics. We can't go do that yet. And then we go through that level again, just so. And we actually reach our episodes will end with save rooms. So, in the next episode, we'll explore more of the ship and see what's going on. See you next time.